Welcome to you all. My name is Andrew Chung. I'm Artistic Director of Inner Chamber, and this is Inner Chamber Connections, which provides a chance for us to learn a little bit more about the music coming up in our upcoming concert, and as well to speak to our guest artists and special performers who are joining us. And for this upcoming concert on February 7th, and the concert's called Lost and Found, we have Pam Gerrand joining us. Welcome, Pam.
Thank
So
you, Andrew. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
great. So Pam, on your website, it captures it so beautifully that, first of all, you're a great songstress and a poet and creator. You live here in Stratford, and you're one who believes that the power of song to create connection and bring about conversation and bring about transformation. And I think that beautifully encapsulates yes, absolutely the power of music and especially your art form. We're so pleased that you're able to join us for this concert. Um, on our poster material, we describe this concert as an opportunity to face what we have lost and what we have found, and to pause in thankfulness for both.
Mhm.
And I think that's so true. Oh, my goodness. Um, so, Pam, in a way, you've had a connection to our Inner Chamber series for a very long time. Firstly, through Stephen Degenstein, your husband, who
Yes.
lights our concerts so beautifully. He's done so for, oh my gosh, it feels like about 8 years or so, or something around that.
I
Um,
think it's been that long. Yes.
and we had a conversation a while ago. I remember, we met for coffee and we talked about collaborating on something. It was maybe a couple of years ago.
It
What
is.
what
Yeah.
what spawned your interest in working on a concert together?
Hmm. Well, I think I've been attending inner chamber concerts for at least a decade. And more so since Stephen, my husband, started doing the lighting. And so I have been to many inner chamber concerts, and I love the experience that you create for the audience and the listener. It's you never step in the same river twice with inner chamber, and I love the variety of music, classical music, chamber folk. You bring in musical theater artists. There's original pieces that you collaborate on, and I have always enjoyed not only your amazing artistry, but you're all musical storytellers, and I find the poetry of what you offer to be of such a high caliber, not only technically and musically, but you have so much heart. I've always felt this, that it's your mission and your vision with Inner Chamber to create this beautiful, intimate space where people can come to be uplifted and consoled and nurtured and nourished by the music. So it was. I've always enjoyed the classical music concerts, and there were a couple that you brought in poets and different singers and some original music. I think I'm going back a few years ago in the spring. I can't remember the title of it. It was, I think, April. Ben had arranged much of the music, and I know that there was Marian Adler was a narrator and brought through. Can you remember the name of this? It was by the apple tree or something.
Oh yes, Under the Apple Tree.
Under the apple tree, yes. And I literally sat there
Yeah,
and was so lit up
yeah,
by the variety and the experience of pairing the words and the music and the journey. And as an artist, I started to have visions of some of my poetry and some of my music. And I literally sat there kind of putting a set list together in my head and going, whoa, it would be so amazing to see my work come to life with your ensembles. So I
yeah.
would say that that was the beginning of it.
That's awesome. Um, I mean, I'm so lucky to work with all these great people, and by no means it's not just my vision. Like I find that oftentimes we get into a space together and we talk and we just kind of we come up with new ideas,
Mhm.
and we all have yeah, as you say, a lot of heart, a lot of great ideas and different musical backgrounds. Everyone who we collaborate with,
Yeah.
their connection to music and art, and then the way we bring it together. I just feel very, very, very fortunate to
Mhm.
work on so many collaborative projects. Um, so, I think when we got talking, I think that just, we met and the idea kind of sat for a couple years, and then boy, we had this pandemic, we entered this pandemic, and then we planned this season, and we thought, okay, well, we'll bring Pam into a concert, and we will work on something that covers this concept of loss, and then finding it, and then we thought, okay, well, what musicians will we be working with? And I don't think you had too much direct input into that, but to
Oh.
me it made really good sense to bring Daniel Ramjatan um,
Mhm.
back to our series. He'd appeared with us once before with his
Yeah.
colleague Zach Pulak on percussion,
Oh.
and oh gosh, he's just such a passionate performer. Really wanted to get him into this concert. I
Mhm.
had been planning to have Gerard Yoon, who's a shakuhachi performer. That's a Japanese flute. I've
Mhm.
been attempting to have him in a concert for a good 5 years now. So we asked him, and he was very, very willing and keen. Of course, Graham Hargrove. He's such an amazing multi instrumentalist and percussionist. Um, Great creative thinker. And you had collaborated with him as well. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes, with Graham on several concerts, and Daniel used to be my next door neighbor. So I'm going back to 10 or 12 years ago when he was a young kid, and I would hear him on the back porch playing, and was blown away by his the beauty of his playing and his expertise way back as a teenager. And probably 10 years ago, we did a concert. I asked him to play with me at Factory 163 for a concert. And yeah, I have always admired his passion. That's such a good word for him. And he has become just a world-class musician and teacher and facilitator. And this year I've seen how he's such a visionary too, because with his concerts for the end of time, he's really adapted to continuing to be a forward thinker to bring music to audiences when we could no longer be together in person. So yeah, such an
Perfect.
amazing group you've put together. And
Yeah, it is really a dream team. Okay, and then with these great performers, then we began mapping out actually what we were going to play and share through this music. And I think what emerged was this arc, right? So, and then we were thinking three stages. But there was almost three different art forms here coming all together with these three different stages. So we're thinking the first set would be angular and angry.
mm,
And for that, we're just all coming from this state of confusion, and we well, I was thinking to put in a little bit of Shostakovich. He has got
mhm.
enigmatic personality, and his music really leaves you thinking, okay, what exactly was the meaning of that?
Okay.
Graham
Yes.
Hargrove is composing a new piece for percussion and quartet, and then we've got your piece, Can't Remember Spring,
Yes.
for obvious reasons, like give me spring. And this is in
Yes.
this opening section, and then we enter an area that's a little bit lost and desolate. Um,
Yeah.
for this, Daniel and Gerard on Shakuhachi are going to, I don't even know what they're doing. They're doing an improv,
Mm-hmm.
and those two are just going to jam out for a little bit and create something. We'll learn a little bit about the Shakuhachi for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're both great improvisers, and
That'll be so exciting.
oh yeah, and
Mhm.
and
Beautiful.
the application of the shakuhachi, there's so many reflective and meditative
Mm-hmm.
applications and uses for this instrument, so I'm looking forward to learning from that. And we got
Mm-hmm.
this incredible poem of yours
Mm. Thank you.
in this middle section. Tell me about Into the Void.
Well, yeah, and I would say that that was that would be the springboard for my request, my the invitation to for us to collaborate all those years ago. I thought about Into the Void, and this time of year, and reflecting back to the song "Can't Remember Spring," because both of these pieces, this song and this poem, were birthed from this very challenging inward time where we literally, the palette outside our window can be so gray, like the days you wake up and is it even morning? It's so dark, it's so gray. And to find the energy to move on joyfully in life. And so I think that the poetry of that song, Can't Remember Spring, it really speaks to the lost section that we begin in. And Into the Void, really is, how do we mine the gold of the dark night of the soul that can arise, this inward reflecting time. Goodness knows there are people that we have SAD. People get depressed in the winter. We're very hibernative. When I think about watching my dog, if you watch an animal, they're very slow and can be lethargic in the winter. And these are all things that can be challenging. But what are the gifts of this inward time when the world outside grows very still? And there's actually a great richness in being able to go into this void time. And so that the poem Into the Void really reflects not only this time of year that we're in, but I feel like the time of the quarantine, of the restlessness and the isolation and the sorrow and the lack of connection, and how the emptiness can make us feel this lethargy, that it's such a loss. And to have to be creative, to have to come up with ways to generate energy, to find some kind of joy and light and color. So the flip of it for me was not judging it or resisting it, but leaning into it and finding that there are so many ways one can be shaped by this long stretch of winter. And there's one line, and like a hibernating bear, thick with your extra coat of forgetting, you head back to bed. So it's kind of a celebration of this slumbering of winter. And instead of, resisting it, hating it, being down about it, to me, it's about finding what is that void space of the darkness. And we think about how all seeds are germinating in the dark, that it can actually be a really rich, radiant, generative time if we're just patient with ourselves. So I think that there's the patience and the compassion for ourselves that is mirrored in this pandemic time that has been so challenging. So
I
difficult.
I absolutely love that poem. I think it's so rich and full of meaning. I can't wait for everyone to for you to share
Thank
it
you.
with everyone as part of our concert.
Thank you.
And then our concert ends in the sense of comfort. Daniel will be playing a little bit of Bach, of course.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we've got the song "I'll Meet You There."
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a little bit more poetry too. Um, and then are we ending with, what are we ending with?
Oh, well, we'll leave the ending a bit of a surprise, but I think we're ending on my song Love Is All, which is kind of part hymn, part anthem, gospel-y-ish. I'm really excited to sing it with you because it came to me as an a cappella song, which I've never had written a song with that I didn't write on piano or another instrument. So I've only ever sung this song a cappella. So this is going to be so interesting and beautiful and rich to have you bring it to life.
And
And yeah.
Ben's creating the arrangement for that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to have that unfold too later this week.
Mm.
So yeah, what a incredible mix of poetry, song, instrumental music, your voice reimagined with this ensemble. Um,
Mhm.
in a way, it's what we do best.
It is. It is what you do best.
And a couple weeks ago, then all of a sudden we got the stay-at-home order,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that really threw a spanner in the works. And what emerged was that it turned out that we weren't allowed to live stream as we planned from Revival House. Only TV studios, recording studios were able to host rehearsals and performances. So, boy, we really had to reinvent the wheel a little bit and change the way we're doing this particular concert.
Yeah.
I I guess that the rationale behind it is that TV studios are able to pivot, the media industry is able to pivot a little bit more easily, and there's maybe better sanitization, safety protocols in
Yes.
place. I mean, we had an excellent setup at Revival House, and it's really too bad we're not able to perform there, but on we go.
Right.
Revival House will continue to provide the takeout meals for this concert.
Hmm.
I just got to order by Friday.
Okay.
And then Canterbury Music Company and Studios in Toronto is where we're ending up. We're
Mhm.
going on a road trip.
Road trip.
This is a TV studio, and they've got all this UV lighting that kills any nasties that are in the air, and they've got
Right.
health and safety protocols in place. So we're bringing this live stream to you out there from Canterbury,
Yeah.
and it brings to light this daily moral dilemma.
Hmm.
You know, my understanding of the rules and regulations are based on what I've read very, very closely, but that's not exactly in line with the next person who's read it
Hmm.
and maybe interpreted it their way, or they've heard hearsay from someone else as to what we're allowed to do. And at the heart of it, it's quote unquote stay at home,
Right.
and we're going out to do this concert. So from our perspective, a few points were clear. First of all, we can't do our work from home.
Right.
This
Right.
art we're putting together, we can't do it from home.
Hmm.
Um, we do need to come together. Collectively, I talked to every one of you individually, and
Yeah.
we individually, each of us felt compelled to bring this project forward rather than postpone it. We
Hmm.
felt that now was the time that this music and this project was needed.
Hmm.
Um, and we were comfortable with the stringent health and safety
Hmm.
protocols in place at Canterbury, and you've worked there before, and I know a number of the ensemble
Yeah.
has as well.
Yeah.
So this is music for this time here in February, in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, I bow to you. I do because I know what a juggle it has been, and just a constant pivoting with the regulations coming up. Even from our first rehearsal a couple of weeks ago, the regulations changed again, and you have been so brilliant. I watching last year how there were several concerts canceled. But then your adaptation. See, this is the thing that I admire so much is how do we do this now? So you did several concerts in the fall with a small audience and live streaming, and brilliant resource that you've got in Mike Fisher doing the live streaming. And then it came to our concert, and it was going to be no audience at all. And I have to tell you, it's interesting because when I think about sitting in the audience at INNERchamber as an artist, having a desire to collaborate and co-create with you, the vibe I loved the most about INNERchamber was the community feeling.
The
Everybody
audience,
came
you're the
and had a
best
plate of
audience
food.
ever.
Yeah, right?
Incredible audience. I
And
know.
that was what I was wanting to be part of, right? And it was like people come have a plate of food, a glass of wine. And, it's in almost in the, not in the round, in on all three sides. It's a thrust stage. At least you had in the first environs, and then it's been evolving. So what I bow to you is the adaptation of these times is that it could be easy for you to say no. INNERchamber is the chamber we are in with people intimately sharing this music. So it seems like the invitation is to go even deeper
Mm,
because it could be just a full stop and let's wait until this is done, but we don't know when that will be. So I love that the lost part of this was the way you used to do it, but what you have found is this has actually expanded your audience and your reach through people that can come to the live stream to anywhere in the world.
mhm.
And there's an excitement in that. Like I'm finding that I have traveled a lot in my career, and there are people that are all over the world that couldn't have come to Stratford to see us live, but they're excited about coming to this. So I think what you have found is a wider global audience. So congratulations.
Thank you. So gracious. And one thing I've noticed this season, this will be our third concert this season, is we've retained our viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we got to put on our imagination hats and just imagine that collective Stratford community as well is watching us from home,
Absolutely.
and they have an understanding of the sort of art that we produce, and they're very,
Mhm.
very supportive. So again, I'm just super grateful to this community and to the great
Mhm.
artists who are willing to collaborate and create. And I'm really looking forward to our concert. So we're
Mhm. Me
February
too.
7th. You can go to our website, innerchamber.ca, to pick up tickets. And this will be live streamed from Canterbury Studios in Toronto. Thank you, Pam Gerrand, for joining me
Mhm.
today.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been my pleasure.
And we'll see you all on the 7th.
See you there.